Hey, this is Carlos GGS from Guitar God Secrets, and I want to talk to you today about how to learn the notes on the fretboard. This is something every guitarist knows he needs to do, but very few guitarists ever really do. It took me a while. One of the things I do recommend right off the bat that makes this really easy is go out and get yourself an app for your phone. If you have a smartphone, an iPhone or Android or whatever device you have, get one of the apps that's out there that helps you learn the notes. Basically, it quizzes you by putting a dot on the fretboard and asking you, what's that note? But before you do that, you still need to have the basics. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at that thing going, "What? I have no idea what that note is," and then just freaking out. And that's going to be worse for you in the long run. So how do you learn the notes? Well, the easiest thing to do is start with the low E string. I think this is where every guitarist starts, whether they want to or not. It just happens naturally. Because you're learning bar chords, right? You learn those bar chords. I didn't even know that was going to sound. I turned down the volume. Hey. You basically start out learning E, low E, and then you work your way up to F, and then G, and then A. And you learn that those notes, the root note of those chords is down here on the low E string. So, of course, the open E, the F, the G, the A, B, C, D, E. We're back to the octave right here, and that's what the magic of the 12th fret is all about. The fretboard repeats itself all the way up again. Well, once you realize that, and you realize that really this is the only chunk you have to memorize, well, now it's actually not so bad. And then you realize, oh my God, one of these strings is actually duplicated. The low E and the high E are exactly the same. So this note is the same as this note. They're just 2 octaves apart. Well, that saves a little time, doesn't it? So actually we only have 5 strings to really learn. And then once you realize, if you've been playing for any period of time, that you probably already know many of the low E notes, well, you only have 4 more strings to deal with. And 4 more strings times 12 frets, that's only 48 locations. It's not that bad. 48 things is not hard to learn. When I was a kid in grade school, it might have been junior high, or I don't even remember, I think it was junior high, I learned the value pi, Pi, you know, that one you use in geometry to determine the circumference or area of a circle and all that stuff. I memorized pi to 50 places in a week. Okay, so that's not too hard to do. It's pretty easy if you think about it. Just break it down into small chunks. Any large task can be broken down into small chunks. As the saying goes, the way you eat an elephant is 1 bite at a time. So again, back to how do you learn these notes? Very easy. Start with a low E and get the E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and then realize which ones are in between those. E, F, next one is F sharp, if I'm going in this direction. Again, this flatting and sharpening of notes is something that we can talk about in a future video, and I talk about in my courses how to understand that. Or you could call it G flat as well. Okay, it's the same note. In between G and A is what? G sharp or A flat. And the same thing between A and B. B and C are right together. There's no B sharp or C flat. D. Between C and D, you have C sharp. And then between D and E, D sharp or E flat. So those are the notes of the E string, and those same notes repeat throughout. They just continue onto the next string and onto the next string and onto the next string. So what's next? Once you've learned the notes on the low E string, which should take you all of literally less than half an hour, you can learn this very quickly and very easily and be able to jump around and just go, oh, C, oh, G sharp. You can do that very quickly and easily on one string, okay? Do that. Just take one day to do nothing but really get the notes down on that low E string. Then what? The next day, take on the A string, which you may actually find you already know many of because, again, bar chords. Bar chords tend to be our reference point for a lot of things. We just learn them as we go, and we realize, okay, so I was playing A, G, G, and you learn that those 2 notes are the A and G on the low E string. Well, on the A string, we do the same sort of thing. We get used to playing these bar chords up on the A string, starting with the A string, all right? That's another way of quickly and easily learning the notes on that string. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Again, we repeat at the 12th fret. So you can see that it's not that overwhelming a task when you get right down to it. It's very manageable, very easy to do. And the cool thing is, if you know your A minor or your C natural or C major scale, you've already learned the basic notes, the non-sharped or flatted notes anyways. That's what those are. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. And we're back again. That's the octave right there. So now what do you do from here? I'm going to talk about that in a future video. This is Carlos GGS, and I gave you a pretty simple way to start really getting your anchoring position of learning. So what do you do after that? Well, I got a little trick for learning the rest, and I'll show you that in the future too. This is Carlos GGS from Guitar God Secrets, and I've given you the solid anchor you need to memorize and learn all the notes across the entire fretboard, and you can start right there, right now. I'll give you more tricks coming up in the future. If you want more cool stuff like this, go to the page down there. Go to that GuitarGodSecrets.com. Go to GuitarGodSecrets.com. There's a form on the right side. I'm going to give you my #1 practice hack that you can use to get better, faster on guitar. You need it. You got to use it. It's something that every guitarist needs because your practice time is precious. You absolutely have to get the most out of it, and you got to get better. This is Carlos GGS from Guitar God Secrets. I'll be talking again soon. Live to play, play to live.